Hi, everybody. It's Chad Smith. Welcome to the Chad Smith Show. And I'm really happy to have a special guest today, Robert Shaw, who is the founder of Funding Authority and also the author of the book, How to Raise $1 Million for Your Startup or Business Idea. And Robert, thank you so much for joining us on the show today, and hope we're glad to have you on.
It's good to be here.
Okay, so first of all, why don't you explain to us? A lot of people who listen to our show are people who have these entrepreneurs. They have these business ideas, but they have a hard time coming up with the funding for it. How can Funding Authority help them?
Well, I think that the opportunity is there. I mean, with the expansion of the Jobs Act of 2000, which includes mainly crowdfunding, if you have a product, it also has different tiers and levels. But uh, the mistake that most entrepreneurs make is they get caught up in this, call it institutional financing, or angel investors, fund managers, professional investors. They try to go after that money, and that's fine. I mean, it's good to go after that money. These people are smart. Once you get connected into that, then they're probably going to fund you along the way. But there's only the reality is that there's only about a 2.5% chance as a startup. So you need to look for alternative financing besides having your own funding coming in from friends and family and loans and that type of thing. It's called alternative financing. And the way to do that is to go after accredited investors that are millionaires and to go after them constantly. And I'll show you exactly how to do that. Accredited investors don't have time to go online. They don't have time. But, they want to be a part of something special on the ground floor if they trust you. And I'll show you exactly how to do that step by step in the book. And all you need to do is pick up the book. It's free at fundingauthority.com. And go to the book, read it, and I show you step by step exactly what to do to how to obtain those type of investors on a regular basis.
Okay, so obviously there's lots of competition out there. People looking for ways to fund their businesses. So what makes Funding Authority and you, Robert, stand out from the crowd?
Well, I think that there are certain steps that you need to take as a startup, and that is that to get to the point where you can actually attract money from outside investment, from accredited investors, is the key. And we show you how to do that. But I think that um, uh, having worked as an investment banker and as a director of different types of startup companies for so many different years, I've included this going after accredited investor type of format into basically almost every campaign that I've been involved in. And it works spectacularly, but it's hard work. You've got to learn exactly how to do it step by step. But once you have become a master uh, of and you have to, but I mean, once you have become a master of the phone, it becomes like a habit forming, but it's something you've got to integrate into your system. And that's something that just a lot of companies don't do. A lot of companies feel like they have the best thing since sliced bread. And there's nothing wrong with that. You should feel that way about your company. But the reality is you're a startup and it's very risky for people to get in. So you might get institutionally funded, like I was speaking about earlier, or you may not. And if you don't, you need to have a backup plan. And that should always be a part of every startup. And I'll show you exactly how to do it. That's going after accredited investors over the phone.
Okay,
And
so
really, to answer your question more specifically, I would say that um, what separates myself is that I really am geared on concentrating towards uh, not only convincing startups that they need to integrate this formula into their system, but and to use it regularly. And there's most companies that I see that you would call my competition don't really focus on it because they haven't done it. They're not experts in that field. And I would say that we are, humbly speaking, an expert in all those fields. But I know that from experience that there's about an 84% chance that companies are going to fail because of lack of capital. My job is specifically to be sure that does not happen to yours. You will not. There's reasons you can go out of business, but if I can take that 84% founder from there by showing you exactly what to do, there's an option to go after accredited investors, and I've done my job.
Okay, so you talked a little bit about what you do and how you work with the client. So somebody who has a great idea, they come to you. They want to go forward. They read the book. Then what's the next step? What do you do with a potential client after that point? After they've read the book and spoken with you?
Well, that's a good question. I think that a lot of people that read the book are just curious, and that's fine. It's not my job, and never will be, to try to convince you to move forward with your startup. This book is actually for people that have committed to do so and are looking for direction, for leadership. And what we can do is to actually help draw a straight line from where you are to where you need to be with financing. Is the main goal. We show you exactly how to do it.
Okay. Now you talked about your background, and again, I know that there are lots of people out there making lots of promises online, but you've been involved with a lot of startups throughout the years. Can you talk a little bit about some of your background with working directly with startups?
Yes, I think that there's starting out. I worked as an investment banker, and many of the times that we were doing financing for young companies and startups. And so working on that side of the funding equation helped me to understand a little bit more. When I decided to start my own company back in the mid 90s, and to take that and to raise money from investors that I knew, and that's how I got started at this. So, did we receive institutional type financing? Yes, some of the time we did. Most of the time we did not. But we would have absolutely gone out of business most of the time if we had not implemented the plan of going after accredited investors and taking that very seriously on a daily basis, trying to call them. Again, it's very hard work, but it's something that we absolutely had to do. And I had to learn this the hard way, but over a period of a long, long time, like I said, since the early 90s, we were able to perfect this. And so as far as the tools that you need, the sales leads, your business plan, all the things that you're going to need in order to obtain those investors. I mean, whether you go after institutional investors or not, you've got to have this knowledge. You've got to have the tools. We show you exactly how to do it. And we'll do it with our ebook. We'll also do it for free with our consultation.
So now is the time. I think any time actually. People are worried. Is now the right time to get started as far as funding is concerned? What should I wait? Is there really any good or bad time to kind of start the process and look for funding for a business as far as the economy goes or things like that? Or how does that normally work?
Well, I mean, I've been doing this basically, and the reality is there's only been one time, and that was that was a short one. That was right after 9/11. People were just, holding their money tight. And so there was a couple of months there where it was well, slow is, it's really not the word, it's almost non-existent, after, but not from that time. You don't need to be thinking about those things. You just need to go after it because once you've made the decision to start your start, there is no slowing down, ever. You just keep continuing to push the pedal to the metal and to go as far as you can regarding everything that you need. And there is no hesitation. There's no time for hesitation. And there's no time for second thoughts or anything like that. Because once you've made that decision, then you jumped in and it's time to move forward. And I'll show you exactly how to do that.
Are there any particular business types or different types of business that you prefer working with? Or are you willing to work with all kinds of business ideas as far as helping them come up with funding?
Well, I mean, I think that the most that it's easy for investors, anybody else, to get caught up in the concept of the idea. But the reality is, it's all about the people behind the idea. But to answer your question, I'm not going to get involved in anything that looks like it might be shady or pornography or anything like that. I want to get into something that can. I want to get involved in the space that is. Because we're in a unique time right now. We're in a unique time where there's plenty of innovation and there's plenty of money out there. for people that are willing to take that step. And we're going to show people exactly how to do that. But I don't really get caught up too much in industry or anything like that. I get more excited about people's passion. And if you're really passionate about what you have, for the most part, then that's what excites me more than anything else, much more than the idea itself.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the book. Again, the name of the book is How to Raise $1 Million for Your Startup or Business Idea, and that is available free on your website at fundingauthority.com. Can you lay out a few major points that the readers may take away from that book?
Well, I think that we start out, and we don't just cover going after accredited investors. That's the main focus of the book. But the reality is, as I said earlier, we are not here to try to convince you that you have a startup idea and might need somebody to encourage you a little bit more. You know what? We're not in that business. We don't do that. We are interested in talking to people and working with people that have already made that commitment to take their startup to the next level. And we'll show you exactly how to do that by helping you to understand what available capital is out there and how to attract them. So, but that's what we talk about. I think as far as some of the motivation and everything else, there's lots of books out there. We will do that to some degree, but what we will do, not just in the ebook, but also as we continue on down the road, hopefully, then we will be able to take we will be able to take the calling of that we have a process that we use for accredited investors, and the calling of the steps that we take are very detailed. And as I was saying before, going after these types of investors over the phone is something that you're not willing to do. That's okay. You probably don't need this because that means that you've got deep pockets or you've got another alternative well to drill, and that's perfectly fine. And but for the most part, if you're looking for capital and you want to be sure that you integrate the capital raising opportunity we have, then you need to work with us. We'll show you exactly how to do that. We've done it time after time after time, and it works.
And obviously, hopefully, most of the entrepreneurs who are out there, they know that it takes a little bit of hard effort to get anywhere that they want to go. So, last thing, so once people read the book, they get in contact with you. What's a normal relationship with you look like? Take us from step 2 through step 10.
Well, I think that it just as curious as people might be that have startups, and they should be. We are just as curious on this because we don't want to get involved with something that's not going to work. Now, the numbers are what they are, and that is fine. But we want to be sure that we have an honest, passionate person that wants to take their startup to the next level. We can help them to do that. And our job is mainly to be sure that these people do not fumble the ball because they run out of capital. We want to show them and put them in front of institutional investors. We want to show them how to use the phone effectively, coach them, and everything else. So that's what we are there for. And we can be of great help to those that are a good match for us and a good match for them.
All right. Very good. Well, thank you so much for your time, Robert. Again, it's Robert Shaw. He's the founder of Funding Authority and the author of How to Raise $1 Million for Your Startup or Business Idea. And you can get that free ebook by going to fundingauthority.com. And, of course, there are ways to contact Robert on fundingauthority.com. And you can find out more information about this service that not a lot of people out there that are doing this that are doing it well. And Robert definitely has been doing it for a long time and doing it well. And he'll work with you to make your business a success for sure. So, Robert, thanks so much for your time.